'Twas a dark and gloomy Monday in Canada. If you don't recognize me yet, my name's Alex. I run an AI agency in Toronto called Peak Demand Incorporated, and we're following pretty much the conversation in Canada regarding AI innovation, technology adoption. But the real estate thing, it's it's like you can't really be a YouTuber in Canada unless you acknowledge the monstrosity or the former monstrosity that was the real estate industry. I really like watching the Angry Mortgage podcast guy. He ships it like it is. Like he does not sugarcoat anything, uh, unless you're considering a few swear words to be some frosting. So I really like watching him because he's an older guy. He gives it to you straight, and I think um, you know older people in Canada, when you tell the truth to young Canadians, they really like respect and believe that, and I think it's important that young people have older generations to look up to and respect and acknowledge that they're telling the truth, because most of the time, the older generations in Canada are so out to lunch on everything. They literally just watched the rest of the world evolve past them. So I'm going to try and get this video in before my next meeting. Let's see what Mr. Ron Butler, I got his name this time, has to say about the recent announcements by the Bank of Canada.
Conference after the Bank of Canada announced a rate cut, Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem said something that's just incredible. He said, I think the standard of living of Canadians is going to go down. Yeah, that's what he said. I mean, he's been talking about this. The bank's been talking about this. He and Carolyn Rogers, the senior deputy governor of the Bank of Canada, have actually been talking on this subject for a while now. And you know what? It boils down to this. They feel Canadians are going to grow poorer. By the way, the Prime Minister said the same thing. The Prime Minister put on that big speech, and the biggest thing I got out of it was, you can expect to sacrifice. Canadians are going to have to sacrifice. What's going on here? Okay, like, what the fuck's happening? Bank of Canada governor says expect a lower standard of living because of all the troubles we're in and poor productivity and many other reasons. And then the Prime Minister says, yeah, gotta sacrifice. People gotta sacrifice. Well, what's been going on for 10 years? Have we been sacrificing for 10 years? I mean, every person under 35 in Canada feels that they've been run out of town, railed over for the last 10 years. I mean, because they can't afford a house, their wages are suppressed. I mean, they brought in a jillion temporary workers so that very young people just out of high school can't even get a job. I mean, what is going on here? And now,
so if you haven't been paying attention in Canada, our pretty much our job market is sort of cracked in a way that I do believe we are looking at a complete overhaul of how the job market works in Canada, especially for young people. If you're a young person today and you're looking at the job market in Canada, you're entering the arena with nightmare difficulty, and you sort of have to be paying attention to that, because odds are your parents, especially if they're immigrants, they weren't here throughout the coming up of Canada or the building of Canada. If your parents are new to the country or relatively new, then they're probably not clued in to how bad it really is in Canada. We no longer have a be all end all industry like real estate that can absorb um, uh, liquidity from wherever, be it domestic buyers, international buyers. So that lack of money moving into the economy is causing businesses attached to that economy to contract. And when that happens, a lot of the roles that would have been given to entry level people are either moved to hire seniors who have to work harder to make sure to keep the lights on, or all owner operators are literally deploying AI systems to complete the tasks that would have otherwise been the responsibility of new young workers or new entry level jobs. So in Canada, we face a particularly difficult issue because we've imported so many people to the country that it's pretty much allowed for like a race to the bottom in terms of the quality of work you'll get for just paying minimum wage. Like everyone wants to work for cheaper, do less for cheaper, do less for cheaper. Eventually, you get to a point where the 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 labor force doesn't have the skills to meet the minimum threshold of what the entry level jobs require. So it's like a competency gap. You have a whole bunch of unskilled people join the marketplace. Eventually, that's going to lead to a point where even young people who might have skills aren't going to be able to get found because there is a saturation of unskilled people who are going after these jobs. Business owners are looking at all the applications for all these unskilled people and going, hey, we can't find anyone to do this work. Let's either give this work to one of the senior people for them to do when they can, or let's adopt some technology to make it easier for us. So if you're a young person in Canada, I cannot stress this enough. Go to chatgpt.com, ask ChatGPT for help. An AI system is going to be more readily available and willing to help you than odds are your fellow Canadian right now, just because it's very, very difficult for everyone. Don't know how else to put it. Um, I'm very, and like looking back now, when I was 25, if I was coming into this job market now, I'd probably be in a much worse place in 10 years from now than I am. I was lucky that, tech was sort of booming or other places around the world, and I got into it and saw the rise of it and was able to sort of establish myself. But now, if you're a young person, like you have to get into tech or at least learn some tech skills. But the market is like it's a difficult market. Like let's get serious. You have to go, the full distance. There's no shortcuts to anything anymore. There's no easy tickets to an easy job. I would even go as far as saying those easy roles where you're just doing administrative stuff, data entry stuff, they're all gone. They're going to be gone. So start to seriously think about upskilling to find a meaningful role.
The Bank of Canada governor promises, yep, you know what? It's just going to get worse. You're going to have to expect a lower standard of living. All right. We actually know why we should expect a lower standard of living. It's not that hard to understand. Canada is a very expensive country. It's just true. We have high tax rates compared with the rest of the world. We have low productivity, which is not how hard people work. It's, do we have innovation? Do we have improvements in process? Do we invest in new systems and new processes? The answer is no, we don't, okay? Because we are a high tax country. We have high corporate taxes, we have high personal taxes, and we have tons of hidden taxes. We have the industrial carbon tax that pushes up our energy costs. So if you're building a factory here, you might figure, well, we need a lot of electricity in our factory. What are the electricity costs in Canada versus the electricity costs in Colorado? What's it like? Oh, it's 3 times more expensive electricity. 3x, like a multiple of 300% more electricity cost in Canada than Colorado. Maybe we should swing with Colorado because the wages are about the same. Okay, some things are a little different. Like we got the healthcare issue, but there's no industrial carbon tax for our factory down in Colorado. So cheaper power, much better corporate taxes. Yeah, I think we're better off. Oh, and for our factory workers, price of homes is 50% less in Colorado. Like better. So yeah.
So and his arguments, like they might sound mean. Like, let's get really serious, guys. None of this sounds good for Canada or, starting a business here, building a business here. So if you're a young person looking at this, yes, business owners, owner operators, large scale operations that would require, thousands of people working in a factory, they're looking at Canada going, why would we start an operation here? It's quite literally cheaper to start it over the border, and the cost of living is much cheaper down south I mean, relatively, like it's insanely high in Canada. So we're going to be able to get people that are going to be wanting to stay in the job because they can afford their lifestyles based on how much we pay them. Meanwhile, in Canada, owner operator managers are going, how can we just get people in here to work as low amount of money, salary as possible and keep our operation stitched together? That sort of a build or model for a business like literally does not work anymore, guys. This cheap labor, throw cheap labor at the problem till it goes away. It is broken our economy, and I really do hope young people can recognize that and get into industries that will not be going anywhere, aka technology, aka artificial intelligence. So um it's funny, someone's calling him a robot right now. So he I like Don because he gives you the perspective of someone who's been around in Canada but doesn't have any sort of like motivations to spin a story or what. I mean, this guy's a mortgage broker. Why would a mortgage broker be denigrating the very economy that he's operating? He's probably done well for himself. He's a bit older, so um, at this point in time, he's just sharing really valuable information. I really do hope young people see this stuff, though, guys. You have to sort of start to understand how the economy in Canada is working, and then you have to be able to bob and weave through these forces because there's no adults in the room anymore. If you're a young person coming out of university, there's no group of owner operator managers saying we can't wait to get a new hire for post grads. They're not doing that anymore. All they're doing is going to the marketplace, trying to get someone who has a lot of experience for cheaper because there's an enormous number of unemployed people right now, so they can pick, or they're just implementing AI systems. It's really, really difficult, guys.
That's what they're talking about. They're talking about an endless truth of an expensive place to do business. Investment is fleeing Canada. Billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of money have left Canada over the course of this year, mainly to the United States. A lot of that's got to do with the stock market, but it's got to do with a lot of other things. It's got to do with that high personal tax rate. It's got to do with the fact that, hey, I don't think things are going well in that country, Canada. I live here. I'm a citizen, and people are thinking in their heads, it's not going good here. I think it's going to go better in the U.S. Because guess what? You can't invest in countries like China and India. They have capital controls. You put the money in, you can never get it back. So nobody would invest there. But the United States, one thing about the United States, no matter how screwed up people might think it is under Trump, if you want to get your money out, you can get your money out. No problem. They make sure that part of the free enterprise system runs smoothly. Bottom line is this. Are some of our industries just going to quietly disappear?
Yes.
Is automotive actually just going to quietly go away in Canada? One factory, one shift, one production line at a time, quietly, slowly. There'll be some big announcements. Like, seriously, if Toyota leaves, that's going to be one hell of an announcement.
Oh, that's
if Honda leaves, that's going to be one hell of an announcement.
If any of these car
but
companies
the
leave.
U.S. companies, will they just sort of whittle away till there's fewer shifts, fewer lines working, and then eventually it just drifts away? Because I know the government promises we're going to sue them. Yeah, we're going to sue Stellantis. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck with that. Look, it sounds like I'm just crapping all over the government, but when the Bank of Canada governor comes out and says, yeah, we all have to realize between tariffs, low productivity, high taxes, high cost environment, all these things combined, we're all just going to, make a little less money, but not like we're going to get reduction in pay. We're just not going to make the increases in pay because that's what this works out to. If you're a data stack guy, you make 40% more in the U.S. than you do here. Like, one of the big problems because people are so mad about house prices because of this. In Canada, the price of housing over the last 20 years has increased at 3 times, 300% more than wages. So yeah, no, for all you boomers who say, well, we had it tough too. No, you didn't have it tough. You had it much better. It's much tougher now. Everything's harder now. And guess what? The government's not going to reduce the price of homes. Price of homes is coming down on its own because the government lost their minds and brought in triple the normal number of immigrants, and they had free money for a year and a half, and every other dumb decision that they made. So, yeah, it's just not good when you're central.
So, it was a consecutive. I mean, it took probably 3 or 4 years, but the cascading of those decisions made by our government for immigration, propping up a real estate market that literally had no more fuel to power it, like no more foreign investments. And keep in mind, guys, if we're relying on foreign investment to keep our houses propped up in value, inevitably the people who live in that country are going to be priced out of the market, which has already happened. Like a few years ago, everyone got priced out. Okay, great. We put a ban on foreign buyers to be able to buy real estate in Canada. What then happens? If foreign buyers are no longer there to keep the houses propped up to this price, prices have to find equilibrium. And if they're propped up and they need to find equilibrium, that means they need to go down to the place where to meet the buyers. The average buyer in Canada for a home, guys, doesn't have any money. So our real estate industry is being priced or has been priced based off of an international market and desire and sentiment to park money in Canada or value in Canada. Unfortunately, Canadians, missed, a lot of us have missed the run up on the value of homes. Great. But now it's like catching a falling knife with the real estate market. Should I buy now or should I wait because everyone has to sell because they can't afford their mortgages? Okay, I'll wait. That sentiment then affects the people who own homes and say, well, I can't wait. I have to sell now. I need to drop my price. They drop their price. But people on the buying side say, well, if they're dropping their price, I guess I can wait. And so even the governor or Tiff Macklem, Bank of Canada, he's saying, like, guys, this is the last rate cut you're getting. Make it work with what we gave you with these cuts. And that literally will mean that Canadians who are currently living or own homes that are above the equilibrium value of what Canadians can pay for them are going to see the values of their homes go down as more and more people who can't afford their mortgages anymore start to let go of those homes at a loss. And it's a downward, it's like a cyclone downward with all of these feedback loops. So, and if you're a young person in Canada, you're like, well, what does this matter to me? Most of our economy is rooted in real estate. All of the industries, periphery industries, like if you look at how many like tech systems are built for real estate in Canada, you're like, whoa, like there's like a mini tech industry for real estate itself. Same thing for healthcare. But guys, like these industries, or particularly real estate, it's contracting like wicked fast. So I would say if you're a young person in Canada, be mindful of this and start to project where you think these businesses are going to go next. If they can't, satisfy their needs right now with current staff, they got to get rid of people. They have to get into AI. It's literally inevitable. Business owners are going to look at their situation and think to themselves, well, am I going to do the same old and hire people who don't perform? Or am I going to look into technology that's literally ripping through systems around the world? It's inevitable, guys. You have to get into tech. It's the bottom line.
Central banker, the person who represents the whole financial side of your country, says, yeah, everybody's got to get used to being a little poorer. Okay. That's a terrible thing. And if we don't figure it out, if we don't understand that we have to do radically different stuff. We need massive deregulation, massive, like huge. I'm not talking about polluting the air and polluting the water or doing anything like that, but I'm talking about we don't need most of this stuff. We shouldn't care if the purple-toed toad, or the yellow-tailed sapsucker loses their nesting ground or loses their breed. We can't care.
Yeah,
we got to build. We got to improve things. We got to become efficient. We got to have lower taxes. We got to get rid of all these hidden taxes like the carbon tax. We got industrial carbon tax still running. We have so much to do. Leaders have to stand up and do it, or we're going to get in a worse situation than we have today.
And that's it, guy. And I noticed he didn't say AI once in that video, but it's very apparent, like innovation, systems, technology, efficiency, all of those things point to AI. And Don might not be an AI guy, but his natural proclivity as a Canadian is aiming his sentiments and his body. He's literally like, we need efficiency, we need savings, we need to do things better. And then all of that is steering him towards, well, you're talking a lot about what AI does. So, I got to get to a meeting in the next few minutes, but I'm going to continue to try and, watch these videos with you guys, make comments on it. I noticed you really like the videos from Ron Butler, but I'm looking forward to the time when more Canadians are asking questions. Well, I don't know anything about tech. Where do I go? How do I get help? And I'm telling you guys right now, if you go to Chat GPT, it will help you learn about this stuff. It'll learn about different industries, learn about the world. And the reason why you might feel so in the dark about tech in Canada is because we don't have a bubbling industry with young people and agencies, going online, having all these conversations. In the States, it's like by the millions. You have kids who are 14 who are putting together a tech companies, because that's how vibrant the market is. Even a 14-year-old can get online and be a prodigy. In Canada, like I've had to have 15 years experience just to be able to get recognized by Canadians as, oh yeah, that guy might know tech. And it's still not enough a lot of the times, just because of how in the dark Canadians are about this technology, about the industry in general. In the States, I say I have 15 years experience. They're just like, take my money, let's go. You're way better work. I had one client literally tell me, I'm glad that you came on camera, Alex, because I've been literally dealing with 16, 17-year-olds trying to sell me their tech business. And I'm like, no problem. Like, we've been doing this for a while. Obviously, we're not, blowing the doors out in Canada, but we can help you. This American companies, they're funny. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. This one's under 25 minutes. If you like the type of conversation that we're having here, or you're curious about technology and where it's going in Canada, hit like and subscribe. If you don't like the type of conversation we're having here, you don't like AI, you don't like my face, leave a dislike, leave a comment. We love all of the engagement. I'm going to do a big roundup at the end of the year, talk comments and negative and positive that we get. I think it's really fun. I'm going to try and show off some more Canadian content creators in the meantime. Alrighty, looking forward to it. Bye now.